If you remember, we had a rule. It said you had to pull out the greatest common factor. Not just a common factor. It has to be the biggest number you can pull out of both of those. That means what's the biggest number that goes into both of those? Explain why that's correct. So the question says explain why it's correct, right? Question, or are you going to give me an answer? Oh, okay. Not yet. All right, let's take a peek at it. Who thinks they know who has it right? Is it Ryan that has it right, or is it Jane that has it right? One person knows, two people. Yeah.
Jane got it right.
Jane has it correct.
I said it backwards, my fault.
So remember, it has to be the greatest common factor. I need the biggest number I can factor out of it.
Which is 2.
2 is not the biggest number that goes into 32 and 24. 4 is not the biggest number that goes into 32 and 24. 8 is the biggest number that goes into 32 and 24. And you could check this by distributing. If I were to distribute this, 8 times 4 is 32m. 8 times 3 is 24 minus 24. Does this work?
Yes.
Yes. Let's check if this one even works. So Ryan, if I do 4 times 8, well, that works. That's 32m. When I do 4 times 6, that's minus 24. So they're both almost correct. They both at least will distribute. But remember, we have one important rule, and what you should have in your answer is it has to be the greatest common factor. Not just a common factor, the biggest number that goes into both of them. The biggest number that goes into 32 and 24 is 8. Jane has it correct because she got the greatest common factor. Ryan just got a common factor. So Jane is correct. Which means on a test, who's getting full points?
Ryan. Yeah, Jane.
Jane is getting full points. Ryan is getting some points off. Jane did not cheat. Okay. All right, so that's factoring. The next thing we're going to do now is we're going to simplify and then factor each expression. Now remember, to simplify, you must combine all like terms. So if I look here and I have 4x and I have a negative x, what happens when I have 4x and a negative x?
You do 4x minus 1.
Yep, it'd be 4 minus 1, which would give me how many x's? 3 x's. So 4 minus 1x will give me 3 x's. Now think about this, because a lot of times we shout out the wrong answer on this kind of thing. I have a negative 2, and I have a positive 23. Sean, you're not taking notes? Hang on. I have a negative 2 and a positive 23. What does that simplify to? Yeah.
Well, I got 21.
You got 21? Did anyone else get 21? Or is it just one person doing it?
I got 21.
Okay. It would be 21, because that's 23 minus 2. Negative 2 plus 23, if I'm at negative 2 and I add 23 to it, remember I'm on the left side of the negative sign? I take 23 steps, I'm at a positive 21. Now we have to factor. What's the biggest number you could think of that goes into 3? Take your time. I would like everyone to do this. What's the biggest number that goes into 3 and also goes into 21? Campbell, last warning. Otherwise, you're leaving my classroom. What's the biggest number that goes into 3 and 21? Yeah.
3.
3 goes into both of those. Remember, your job is, hey, there's only 2 numbers that go into 3. It's 3. 3 is the only thing that goes into 3. We need to see if it goes into 31. It does. So we're going to factor out a 3. Remember, we have x plus. Highly encourage you write this next thing underneath. What goes underneath is 3 divided by 3, because that's what we're factoring out, which is 1. Plus, in my next space, we have 21 divided by what we're factoring out, which is 3, which is 7. Yeah.
Will we lose points if it was to do 1x plus 21?
No. Or if we just did x plus 21. But you still have that 3 out front, right?
Yes.
You need that 3 out front. I don't care if this is 1x or you just leave it as x. So we could have this as, so the question was, could I write this like this? Absolutely. I'll accept either one of those. Because I actually like this one because you're thinking about how you got there. Okay. Our next one, we have a negative 13. We have an 11m. We have a negative m. I'm going to do this slightly out of order, but that's okay. Negative 13 plus 5. I'm going to call on someone random. I have a negative 13, 27 plus. I'm sorry. Are you saying why didn't I flip these? So instead of having, so we could have answered this 2 different ways. The more correct way, I guess, would be 2 times 5m minus 4, but it's okay the other way too. We'll talk about it when we get to polynomials, because when we get to polynomials, we're going to talk about how I can ask you to put in that order. Okay, so I have 20p minus 25. So 5 goes into both of them, so we have 5. Hey, I highly encourage, especially if you're struggling, make sure you write this little arrow. These are your notes. Remember, you're going to have to review this in a couple months to make sure you remember how to do this. So for factoring, we should have this little note here that says the number that goes here is our original number divided by the number that I'm factoring out. I should have a 20 divided by 5. Don't be lazy in your notes. Write that down. 20 divided by 5 is 4. P minus, and what goes here is 25 divided by 5, which is 5. All right, we'll do one more together. Yep. I have 7x. I have an 11x. What happens when I have 7x? 18x, perfect. Nope, I put a y by accident. X. All right, the next thing I do have a negative 2y and another negative. So we should go further negative. Negative 2y minus negative 10y. Now I'm looking for, is there a number that goes into 18 and also goes into 10? We don't have to worry about the x and y right now. We're just looking for a number that goes into 18 that also goes. So if I have 2, the number that goes here is 18 divided by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. The number that goes here is 10 divided by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5y. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Yeah. You sure? Don't hold any questions back. Hey, we have... Yep, go.
How would you know if you have to divide by an even number?
How do I know if divide by an even number? Oh, how do I know if something's an even number? So anything that ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0 is an even number. Everything else is going to be an odd number. So if we look here, 20 and 25, 20 is even, at least 2 goes into it. 25 is not even, it's odd, so 2 will not go into it. Okay? And remember, at the end of the day, if you're not sure, just take your calculator out. Like if I thought 3 went into 20 and 25, I would just do 20 divided by 3 and find out 3 doesn't work. So we always just divide it and see if it actually works. All right, questions? All right. Then you have, 17, 18, and 19 to do? You have 10 minutes to get that done. You should be able to do that. We have 10 minutes. I am going to also check your homework that was due today. Remember, this one is not due today. It was that 3.2 is that distributing one.